Just sacrifice 32 minutes to an individual that doesn't give a damn about anybody's time but hers. Okay?
Grab your hats, people, because we're heading into the wild west of Dolton, Illinois. But have you ever witnessed a political showdown so dramatic that it could be compared to a reality TV train wreck? Get ready for a season of your favorite scandalous program, because Mayor Tiffany Henyard reign is nothing but boring. Tension was high as a routine village board meeting on Monday night was about to become the center of a full-fledged political protest due to power struggles, allegations, and drama. Armed with their ideas and more than a little annoyance, the locals were ready to take their frustration out on Mayor Henyard.
We are awaiting Mayor Henyard to arrive. We'll give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting with no explanation.
The meeting started 30 minutes late because of what appeared to be a minor issue, but the delay served as a catalyst for a wave of simmering resentment that swiftly turned into obvious animosity. One neighbor took the microphone and expressed the group's frustration in an pointed statement. "We just sacrificed 32 minutes to an individual who doesn't give a damn about anybody's time other than hers." The remark was so cruel that, one by one, attendees approached the microphone, their voices shaking with disappointment and rage. They spoke not only of dissatisfaction, but also of a growing determination, their complaints revolving around a recurrent rallying cry. Even someone as supposedly anonymous as Tiffany Henyard would have found it difficult to ignore at that point. Clean House 2025 was more than just a place to vent frustrations. It was in clear and unambiguous directives. Speaker after speaker expressed the same opinion, categorically stating that Henyard's tenure was coming to an end. The most impactful contributions came from locals who called for accountability and urged their neighbors to act. One speaker in particular was really passionate about the situation and emphasized how urgent it is that we go to the polls and cast our votes correctly because we cannot allow her to continue. Being the mayor, the crowd erupted in a fierce fusion of repressed anger and searing frustration that permeated the atmosphere with a sense of impending, given that the community had reached its breaking point and decided that the status quo could no longer continue. The gathering transcended its original purpose as a forum.
Let her get back into being a mayor, and we already know she's not gonna win.
The disrespect you guys just displayed at that microphone is unbelievable. Tiffany Henyard, however, has never been one to back down from a fight, and she certainly wasn't ready to let the residents have the final say without a fight. When confronted with their harsh accusations and unapologetic ultimatums, she met their outrage with her signature mix of defiance and unapologetic confidence, refusing to back down or show any signs of intimidation. Her tone dripped with contempt, leaving no doubt that she felt no obligation to placate her critics. Henyard made a scathing statement to further establish her authority. She made the speech not only to reiterate her stance, but also to provoke laying because she refused to bow to popular opinion. "I have the seat now, whether you like it or not. I am your mayor." Her audacity continued after that. Henyard boldly likened herself to former President Donald Trump, highlighting similarities between their leadership philosophies and the scandals that seemed to follow them both. She even alluded to her own version of a landslide victory. Victory presents herself as a strong, misunderstood leader. Against unfair criticism, many in the room saw her remarks as the latest in a string of incidents that demonstrated her disconnection from the very community she claimed to lead. While some may have seen them as a display of strength, others saw them as another example of her refusal to accept responsibility and her propensity to double down in the face of controversy, further alienating those she was elected to serve. She was a divisive figure who claimed history would vindicate her claim.
82%. Know this, I am gonna come through on a landslide just like Trump did. Know that I will be.
We are Dolton citizens, not your subjects or employers, and since you are departing with this resolute statement, you will not treat us this way any longer. Residents showed a resilience that demonstrated their unwillingness to be silenced when a resident bravely confronted Mayor Tiffany Henyard, representing the collective frustration of a community determined to hold their leader accountable. This face-off wasn't just a normal disagreement. It was an explosive encounter brimming with simmering tensions that exposed the political struggles tearing through Dolton. As Henyard's comments reverberated around the room, one unmoved audience member responded with a statement that reverberated throughout the crowd. The crowd, electrified by the exchange, confirmed their position with cheers and applause, demonstrating that their patience had run out. This clash of wills between Henyard and the residents provided a vivid demonstration of the growing struggle for political control in the small town. The gathering captured the growing dissatisfaction toward a mayor many saw as dismissive of her constituents. It was a bold rebuttal that challenged Henyard's authority and displayed the grit of a town unwilling to submit to what they saw as arrogance and overreach. Of Dolton, a battle marked by bold declarations, unyielding resolve, and a relentless demand for responsibility. The tense atmosphere, which reflected a community on the brink, demonstrated that this was not just about political differences, but also about the citizens of Dolton asserting their authority as citizens against a leadership they no longer trusted. The confrontation's raw emotion demonstrated democracy's pulse in its purest form, demonstrating that even in the smallest towns, voices matter and can challenge the strongest of wills.
Without bias, at the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and the recommendations.
The community was under FBI investigation, which had a long-lasting impact on Henyard, and the debate extended far. After this particular meeting, administration questions about village spending added to the public's discontent. By May 2024, the report said that former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot had also looked into Henyard financial operations and discovered a significant deficit in the village's general fund. The general fund balance of the village had dropped from $5.61 million USD in 22 to a $3.65 million USD deficit. Lightfoot also brought attention to issues over Henyard's use of the village credit card. Research that revealed a number of purchases were missing their receipts. Another shocking finding was that 43,000 Americans bought items on Amazon on January 5, 2023. The residents' calls for the Henyard to be shut down are only heightened by the financial difficulties. Concern about an agenda that had not been fully examined and the lack of transparency around the township's finances, two trustees in the township where Henyard had previously served as supervisor, Christopher Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle, skipped a board meeting. The ongoing power struggle between Henyard and the trustees reached a fever pitch since their absence prevented a vote to select a new trustee to assume the role. A village spokesman declared that Henyard's attempt to name Ronald Bearer as the new police head without board consent was unlawful, further complicating the already tumultuous situation. Gonzalez voiced his worries, questioning why there is such a rush to get us to a meeting. He and Carr were wary of handing Henyard too much control, particularly over financial issues, for fear of a return to the questionable spending habits of previous leads. The former interim chief, Lacey, was in hot water with the law after being accused of bankruptcy fraud at the time of his hiring. The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board even determined that Lacey was not legally eligible to be a police officer. Chief because of incomplete documentation and no current requalification, which exacerbated the dispute. Burge's own history included lawsuits alleging political or employment retaliation. In the letter, the board encouraged her to remove him from public service until the necessary paperwork was submitted and his eligibility was determined. A judge initially allowed Burge SAR to serve as interim chief for 30 days before ultimately overturning several of her decisions regarding staffing. During the legal battles regarding staffing, the landlord, Janetta Hull, revealed that the couple had not paid rent since August, resulting in thousands of US dollars in back rent and late fines, even though Henyard's attorney denied the accusation. Hull further claimed that Henyard and Woods had changed the garage door code in the locks to prevent her from entering the property. The eviction case went on, highlighting how precarious her situation was. Even Henyard's PR attempts failed. Her annual turkey giveaway, which was supposed to be a goodwill gesture, but was criticized by some as a way to deflect attention from the ongoing scandals. Reliable Gun also questioned the timing of the event, claiming that it was a last-ditch attempt to garner public support while avoiding crucial township issues. Some locals voiced their annoyance by drawing comparisons between the numerous posters and the propaganda strategies used by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, which emphasized the sense of the hen's dominating presence and authority on the public perception of the village. Even though many people enjoyed the giveaway, it only served to highlight the deep divisions in the community. The political manipulation and public relations stunts clearly had no effect on the public, adding to the already explosive mix of Henyard's self-promotional stunts, which reached new heights. Giant billboards featuring her image emblazoned with slogans like "Keeping My Promises," "Fighting for My Residents," and reports of her using police officers as personal bodyguards blurred the lines between personal protection and public service, and accusations of using taxpayer money for lavish parties and luxury travel. The residents felt outraged and unfair, and we asked how long the situation escalated when Henyard called the police on workers removing banners featuring her image and the title "Super Mayor." The billboards, which were meant to reinforce her public image, instead became a symbol of her disconnection from the concerns of her constituents. We weren't against her having a security detail, but the use of public funds for personal enrichment and the harsh tactics used to quell dissent ignited calls for accountability and change.
It's turkey giveaway, so it isn't anything new, yet some trustees say that Supervisor Henyard...
Tiffany Henyard's narrative is far from done, as her recently declared bid for re-election amid political unrest, sensational accusations, and growing controversy adds even more intrigue to her already captivating story. Saga, who was once praised as a trailblazing figure in Dolton, the town's first female mayor, and a symbol of change, is now embroiled in a storm of criticism that has severely polarized the community she promised to lead. Her decision to run for re-election is not surprising to those who know her confrontational style of leadership, but it has definitely sparked a heated public discussion. Many people believe her bid is a deliberate attempt to repair her legacy and take back control of the narrative that portrays her as a strong leader. Henyard's campaign, despite the clamor of critics, is seen by a growing number of Dolton residents as a pivotal moment that offers an opportunity to address the scandals and moral failings that have plagued her tenure and determine whether the town will continue to support a leader who many believe has betrayed their confidence. Claims of corruption. Dolton is at a crossroads between continuing with Henyard's vision, although one that is cloaked in suspicion, and turning the page in the direction of a new beginning that places a higher priority on responsibility and transparency for Henyard because of the long-lasting shadow left by mismanagement and abuse of power. In addition to being a political struggle, her re-election campaign is a test of her fortitude and determination, a chance to disprove her critics, and a daring attempt to solidify her legacy in the community. However, to her enemies, it represents the unbridled, the boldness and ambition of a leader who refuses to accept the consequences of her own scandals. The conclusion of this election could decide not only Henyard's fate, but also Dolton's future course. Thus, the stakes are higher than ever. Supporters of Henyard, inspired by her audacity and unwavering refusal to back down, contend that she is a visionary leader battling against systemic barriers and political sabotage, while her opponents see her re-election campaign as a desperate attempt to hold onto power and minimize the legitimate complaints of her. The community is tired of her leadership. As the crucial election approaches, the tense political climate in Dolton and the drama surrounding Henyard's campaign have drawn attention from throughout the state, transforming this small-town race into a larger conversation about public officials' accountability and leadership ethics. Showdown. Will Henyard weather the storm of scandal, recapture her narrative, and win a second term, or will this election be a referendum on her leadership, marking the end of her controversial reign? Whatever the result, it is obvious that this election represents a turning point in Dolton's history and has the potential to have a long-lasting effect on the town's political and social fabric for years to come. The stakes resonate far beyond campaign promises and slogans, symbolizing the larger challenges of leadership in the face of adversity, ambition unchecked by accountability, and the resilience of a community seeking justice. Tiffany Henyard's story is far from over, as her recently declared campaign for re-election emerged amid the scandalous political unrest. Her already captivating story is further complicated by accusations and growing controversy. She was previously praised as a trailblazing figure in Dolton, the town's first female mayor, and a symbol of progress, but she is now firmly established in her decision to seek another term is not surprising to those who are familiar with her defiant leadership style, but it has certainly sparked a heated public debate, with many viewing her bid as a calculated attempt to rehabilitate her. The storm of scrutiny has severely divided the community she vowed to lead, legacy, and take back command of the story, portraying herself as a strong leader. Despite the clamor of critics, a growing number of Dolton citizens view Henyard's campaign as a turning point that offers an opportunity to address the scandals and moral failings that have plagued her tenure and determine whether the town will continue to support a leader who many believe has betrayed their trust. Claims of corruption, poor management, and abuse of power have cast a long shadow, leaving Dolton at a crossroads between enduring Henyard's and moving on. This re-election campaign is more than just a political battle. It is a test of endurance and resolve, an opportunity to prove her detractor wrong, and a bold attempt to cement her place in the town's history. However, to her critics, it symbolizes the unchecked ambition and audacity of a leader unwilling to acknowledge the weight of her own controversies. Is in a position to decide not only Henyard's fate, but also the course of Dolton itself going forward. Supporters of Henyard, inspired by her audacity and unwavering will, contend that she is a visionary leader against systemic barriers and political sabotage. The political climate in Dolton is tense, and the drama surrounding Henyard's campaign has captivated the entire state. Meanwhile, her opponents see her re-election bid as a desperate attempt to hold onto power and ignore the legitimate complaints of a people tired of her rule. As the days before the crucial election dwindle, emphasis is shifting this small-town race into a larger conversation about leadership ethics and the duty of public officials. There is a big question: will Henyard weather the storm of scandal, regain her reputation, and win a second term? Or will this election act as a referee referendum on her leadership, bringing an end to her controversial reign? The odors go well beyond campaign pledges and catchphrases that represent the larger difficulties of leadership in the face of hardship and ambition that is unbridled by responsibility and a community's tenacity in pursuing justice regardless of the result. It is obvious that this election represents a turning point in Dolton's history and might have a long-lasting effect on the political and social fabric of the community for years to come.